Hey guys, and welcome back. My name is James, and today we're going to be testing out some more leather. Radermecker is a very old tannery in Belgium who have been making leathers for more than 100 years now, and they sent me some of their Niagara leather in chocolate for me to test out. This is Radermecker's Niagara leather. It's a vegetable tanned leather that comes in quite a few gorgeous colours, and as you can see I have it here in the chocolate colour, which is apparently one of their top sellers. Niagara leather is an aniline dyed vegetable tanned leather that has been given a special oil bath in order to fill it with oils and waxes. This gives it a great water and tear resistance while making it great to work with. Well, at least that's what they say on their website, so we're going to check that out. Despite the oil bath, the look is clean and natural with rich colours throughout. This is a full grain leather, meaning that the surface of the leather has not been corrected, and as you can see, this means you can see the stretch marks from the animal's life on the leather. I personally think this is a wonderful piece of character and shows how premium the leather is, since it is going to be obviously top grain leather. You may want a leather that has a much cleaner look, a much more unified look, and if that's the case, then maybe this is something that you might want to avoid. Personally, when I'm making something with this leather, I actually try and use these creases, accentuate them in my piece and make them stand out. One thing I want to see with this chocolate piece is how the colour does in my testing. I mark each square for later reference, one for water, one for oil, one for wax, and one for a fold and scratch test. I also keep one test reference piece that I'll put aside for later comparison. Starting with the water test, I sprinkle a few drops on the leather and gently massage the water around. Immediately you can see that the water is just dancing around on the surface with no visible penetration whatsoever. After about a minute, I wipe off the water and look at the leather underneath. It's looking good, with only the tiniest hint of moisture penetration in the middle of the piece. I'll add a bit more water and let it sit for 5 minutes to really push this test to its limits. For the oil test, I'm using 100% pure neatsfoot oil, a common product used in leatherwork. As I spread this on, I'm really not expecting much. If the water did next to nothing, oil is going to do even less. And as I'm spreading it on, I can already see that this is probably not going to yield any results, which is a good thing in this case. For the wax test, I'm using Saphir Médaille d'Or, another staple of the leatherworking industry, and apply it generously throughout the piece. This too needs to be left to dry before we can buff off any excess wax. It's been 5 minutes guys, let's have a look at the results. The water, after having been left for 5 minutes on the leather, really has had no effect. If you look really close, you can maybe see some moisture spots, here and here, but these are minimal and will definitely clear away fast without leaving a mark just by letting the leather dry naturally. I also can't see any change in colour, which again is a really good sign. This is a very strong result, and with a layer of protective wax on your piece, I would imagine this leather to hold up really well against rain or spillages as long as you let it dry properly afterwards. The oil test yields similar results with no trace of any oil having penetrated the leather. The colour is intact, and upon close inspection, the only indication that there was any oil whatsoever is a slight extra shine. This again is really impressive. The wax, as you can clearly see, has also had nearly no significant effect to the leather. The colour remains the same, with only maybe a hint of extra depth to the leather. What you do see, however, is some extra shine when the light hits it just right. The fold test is a great way to push leather to its limits, trying to see if any cracks or discoloration happen among the fold. As this is 1.2mm thick leather, I expect a slight bulge along the fold, but I am very pleased to report that I can see neither cracks nor discoloration. The leather is moderately soft and pliable. As you can see, even under the worst stress conditions possible, we still can't see any change in the leather. I can only give this piece top marks here, as this means that the pigments are deep within the leather and that the leather should last longer over time. Using a scratching tool and applying moderate to hard pressure, I try to scratch up the surface to see how fast I can get below the top layer of leather. We're looking here to see if the leather peels off or shreds into small particles, indicating brittle or dry leather. Or, as it is here, we want to see if the leather remains whole despite the scratching. The result is not bad at all, though the softness of this leather does mean that it shows marks quite fast. One nice upside though is that this buffs up well after the fact, so I'm confident that this leather will age beautifully, showing loads of patina and character with age. For my final test, let's bevel the edges and give them a quick burnish using toconol as a burnishing agent. As you can see, the results are quickly very pleasing, and again, I can only see this leather yielding good results on this front. To round out my testing properly, I like to make something with this leather, giving me an opportunity to see what the handling experience of working this leather really is. This leather looks like it has everything you may be looking for in a good leather, and I definitely could see myself using this again in the future. It's silky soft to the touch and yet still nice and firm, tough with a nice hint of delicacy, and I really enjoyed working this leather. I can recommend this to anyone in leatherwork, and especially those who love the stretch marks you can see on the leather, which I am certain will age in a unique and gorgeous manner. Before this review, I actually made a whole project using Niagara leather from Radermecker in a different color and a different thickness, and I know that if you've enjoyed this video, you're going to love that video. It comes with a free PDF template that you can download to make that exact bag. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching, hopefully you've learned something, and hopefully I'll see you very soon for some more leather work.